Hey, bud, not hearing you.
Well, I'm going to start all over again because I was on mute. Well, for
that would have been good for a silent show.
It would have been for a silent show. We could do some sign language or something like that, you know? Ladies and gentlemen, I started early and say good evening and welcome Saturday night on Talk and Sip. And when I started it and I say you got to have a drink and everything, I'm just repeating what I was saying because I was on mute. O'Neill, hey, how are you doing, sir? What's up?
I am good, buddy. How is stuff across the pond?
Pond. Which pond are we talking about? Jamaica or the UK?
The UK. You know, there's a lot seems to be going on in the UK. A lot going on here. A lot going on around the world. Jamaica. So there's a ton of good things to talk about.
You're right. You're right. There's a lot of things going on around the world. And when we talk about the world, we're talking about even it can get rid of the negative ones or the one which is giving us stress, if anything. Russia and Russia and Crimea, that bridge just got blown up.
Yeah, part of it got blown up. Yeah.
Yeah, and they say that is giving a headache to Putin. So and then they're talking about the possibility of him getting a bit funny with the what they call it, nuclear. I don't know how serious it is. We have been hearing that for a while, but
I don't. You know, history will tell us, right? Then if anyone learned from history, you go back to the Cuban Missile Crisis,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things that when you read about that era, um, the important thing is dialogue,
Yes.
having discussions. And I think the interesting thing that I notice is that, and when I say the West is pretty much, the NATO countries.
Yeah.
They're taking a position that let's not talk to this guy, right? And we all agree that his invasion of Ukraine is criminal, right? And
Uh,
the horrific things that he has put on that people and the Ukrainian people is horrific. But the question for us is how do we end it,
mm,
right? And if everyone is saying that this
that's,
guy is crazy, right? That's a reason to end it. Because if we're saying he's so crazy that he might use nuclear weapons,
yeah.
right? Remember, he has like tactical nuclear weapons. He has much more than the U.S.,
Yes.
right? So if you decide to get crazy, right, let's figure out how to negotiate our way out of it,
Yeah.
right? Let's get
Yeah.
diplomacy at work here.
I think you're right, and that is one of the things that when the whole crisis started with the electric and gas and the energy thing, every, well, when the war started, actually, they said that let's go for it, and all these sanctions, and then the sanctions actually ricochet hitting us, whereby everybody's having all these different difficulties now. Now, while many people may think that Russia is not being affected, well, we don't know because in the sense of those news, just like with Iran, so we don't know
Yeah.
exactly what's going on in these countries and what the people are
Yeah.
actually suffering on. Um,
Um, it's an interesting because even at the height of the Cold War, there was still an open dialogue between the U.S. and Russia,
mm,
right? And regardless of one's point of view on this, is to me, it should be how do we end this, right? How do we get reprieve for the
yeah,
Ukrainian people,
yeah,
right? And I think what you're seeing is a challenge in the hegemony of the U.S., right? So the U.S., what Russia, China, if you sort of look at it from their point of view, is that we live in a rule-based system, a rule-based foreign policy, meaning the rules of how you engage around the world is set by the West, G7, G20,
yeah,
you name it. And what others are saying is that, hold on, you can't just have one person that decide how the world works.
yeah,
And I think that's what you're seeing right now being challenged, is to say, you know, the Chinese, the Russians, the Indians, they're saying, how do we create a collective society
mm,
that we're working together in a manner that advance the experiences for all our people.
yeah.
And I think we have to get back to it. And you and I have talked about it. I just feel that when Merkel left,
A massive
uh,
void.
there's a massive leadership void. I thought Macron would have stepped up because in the end, you and I live on an island in a sense.
Mm,
Right? The US is a big place. The UK is an island, right? So you could argue that we are insulated a little bit. So if something happened that trigger, as we said, that the current president of Russia is crazy, if he decide to unleash nuclear war, then guess what? Europe is going to face, it's the Europeans
yeah,
that's going to get the brunt of it. So the question becomes, how is it that you don't have any leaders within Europe that is stepping up and said, look, we got to figure out how to end this
yeah,
because it's impacting not just the Ukrainian people, but it's a worldwide impact in terms of grains, food price, and gas price, and everything else. So hopefully we'll get something.
yeah.
I'm hoping.
While we're figuring that out, let us see what are you drinking on it. Let's.
I have become very enamored by the queen who we put to rest. So I have taken up drinking not vodka, but the queen's favorite drink.
What was that? Well, I don't know. You're gonna educate me now, isn't it?
You don't know what you don't know what the queen favorite drink is?
Something which is it has some liquid in it.
Yeah, Hendrix. You know, you have Hendrix. You
Uh-huh.
have Bombay Sapphire. I'm giving you a hint.
You recognize I'm
Gin.
not drinking gin. Okay.
Gin.
Oh, no wonder she liked the James Bond.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Gin. What are you drinking?
Some real good ginger beer.
Oh, okay. That looks
Actually,
fake.
just drinking it now somehow it
Is
feels
that a
like
Jamaican ginger beer?
well, it says super malt, but it's got that sort of real, sort of
Uh,
authentic Jamaican taste. And I guess because maybe I was at the around Jamaicans so much this week with
yeah.
the passport immigration service and also with the opposition leader and just really engaging with Jamaicans. So I'm in the Jamaican mood. And everyone that I met, I kept asking them the question, "Are you from Ocherius?" and,
Oh,
and and when someone, a guy, got his passport, he's got his combo, he's got his citizenship thing sorted out, and I said, "Okay, so are you assigned to a town?" I said, I'll assign you to Ocherius. And he said, no, 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 I'm already Runaway Bay. That's where I got married. That's what the guy. So he was already one step ahead, you know?
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, but one of the reasons why I sort of had this topic here about Access Jamaica. I know we just came out of the Access Jamaica event, which I've been sort of promoting and sharing, and there it is. It's completed now, uh, with all of that. And I tell you, I don't have the videos of the place because one of the things we spoke about is when persons are doing their immigration stuff on their passport stuff, you don't want somebody to be there filming them. I mean, so therefore there's no sort of footage, but it was on the 6th to the 8th, which was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday was okay, Friday was also slam, but today I wouldn't be surprised if they are still there now,
Yeah.
actually.
So
Yeah.
Silburn, is it an end-to-end process? Meaning, if I want to renew my passport, this service I could walk in, join the line, and then when I exit, I have a brand new Jamaican passport.
Not in your
You,
hands. Not in your hands. 20, 25 days turnaround time. What they do
oh,
is, yeah. And
so,
I give you an example. What they do
so this
is,
is your
sorry,
application. You're applying for renewal or a new
yeah,
passport. That's what it
yeah,
is. Okay.
yeah. So like this now, this is my old passport, which
Is that a Jamaican passport?
Jamaican passport, the Jamaican version. Yeah. So I got the Jamaican passport. My wife and I both expired. So we just went there, fill out the form, and just hand them the passport. You pay the money, and 25 days time you get it there. They notarize. You get the pictures. You can buy the pictures there as well. They take the
Oh, you
pictures.
can do the pictures. So pretty much full end to end, and you just wait 25 days and you get your passport
Yeah.
in the mail.
And the thing also is that um, the funny thing about pictures is this: people could go maybe and get a cheaper picture or something like that, and then want to maybe spend £15 or so. But the worst thing, Anil, is when you reach there and they say the picture doesn't fit. Is that the right thing?
Yeah.
So with this place now, no matter what, once you pay that £15, they better make that picture fix because those guys also came from Jamaica. The
Yeah.
photographers.
So they pretty much end to end pictures, whatever. You get a turnkey operation. That's good. And then not only that, you also have, if you want to apply for your TRN, your tax registration
Well,
numbers, you get those
well,
birth certificates.
there was a lady there, and I sent a message if she can come on. Integrated Diaspora Nordia Heap Teep. She was there specifically dealing with the um, TRN, and she was like a broker in a sense. And Dion is here saying, "I'm back. Good to see you, O'Neill and Sil." Dion also was there. She said also they have the notarizing documents also.
Okay, so
Yeah,
turnkey.
yeah. So otherwise than that, people would be going to the Jamaica High Commission trying to get those things sorted out.
Yeah,
So
that's good. And just for folks to know, the tax registration number TRN, what I understand, if you need to pay property tax in Jamaica, you have to have that number.
yeah.
Right. Okay. Is there another number called TIN? Is there a TIN number also?
No, I don't know, but I don't know if they call it TRN, but I know the TRN actually. I think I have my driver's license, in my old driver's license, which have been renewed, which has expired. I think that number for your driver's license is actually also the TRN number.
Got you. Because back in the day, you used to have an NIS number, right?
NIS.
Isn't that the number you get when you're born? When you start working, NIS.
I think NIS is what we do over here, national insurance. I don't know, maybe the same thing.
I think in Jamaica, I could be wrong. I thought they had something called an NIS number in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. And then I popped into the People's National Party. Well, not even the people. Yes, the People's National Party. Well, not even. I wouldn't say the People's National Party, but yes, it was. It was the People's National Party. It was Mark Golding. Mark Golding had this event with. There it is, Jamaica Leader of Opposition. They call it the. Let me see what they call it. Towards the United Kingdom. I think he just did yourself there in the States recently.
Yeah, he did something here. I believe he was in Florida. I think he stopped over in DC and in New York. Is if I recall. But it's interesting because I've not seen a opposition leader in the past that have done these very public tours. I could be wrong, but it probably wasn't as visible. I remember Andrew Holness, prior to him becoming prime minister, he came to New York because I remember New York and not a lot of people turned out because
not a lot. You say not a
lot of people turned out a couple of the events. But I think when Mark was here, he met with some of the folks from the Department of State, because I think Lisa Hanna was part of that delegation that has came as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Hopefully he got a lot from it in terms of hearing from the diaspora community in the UK, and I think Peter Bunting was there.
Yes.
Was that Fitz Jackson? Who was with him? I only recognize Bunting and himself. Can you say who the other folks that were there?
The key persons that was there, and I got some sound bites from them, was Peter Bunting, who is a senator and leader of opposition business, and also
he's security, shadow minister for security, right?
Yeah. Michael Phillips.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is Peter Phillips' son, who's a member of parliament. He
was really?
He was one I had the longest interview with, 2 minutes there. Julian Robinson, you must know Julian Robinson. He was a technical guy. He was the one in charge of technology.
Oh, okay.
I think he was very integral in a lot of the BPO.
Okay.
And also you had Aluna Samba.
She was the ambassador to the UK a couple of years ago.
Because actually she is the legal advisor. She's the legal advisor for the PNP.
So is she living in Jamaica or she is in the UK?
She's head of one of those credit unions as well. So she's here. And I guess her being here was also very strategic because she sort of know the ground when she was High Commission for a period of time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But one of the things that Bunting said, and I think it's very important, and sometimes sometimes it's very unfortunate when you got persons who are in politics or they're PNP or JLP. People tend to shy away to say, "Well, I'm not PNP, I'm not JLP," and not actually listening to what the persons are actually saying. And one thing that Peter said when we were, and even Michael Phillips said it, is hearing the Jamaicans overseas in the diaspora what they are saying. Peter Bunting said it's very interesting. Like they got 1 foot here and 1 foot in Jamaica. Mean to say they are straddling the two sort of worlds. You know, and that is what. And sometimes it's like people overseas sometimes are so attuned to what is happening in Jamaica because they can look from outside looking in. People in Jamaica sometimes can be so sensitized and shut
Mhm.
off from the whole thing. That is one thing. I never forget my father said to my mother once when I over here, my late father, him said, "Boy, the boy in England I know more than we." you know, because
What they say in Jamaica, news travel far.
you travel far. You know what I'm saying?
Um,
So I think that there is a great door, a great access, which is there, and that access that people can have or will have with a passport. I've seen young persons who are there as well, trying to get their passports, well, trying to get their citizenship first. Of course, you got to get your citizenship first, and wanting to be a part of Jamaica. It's like Jamaica is now like this idea, this thing, which they want to be a part of. And so, how can the government? No. Let's forget that. How can Jamaica benefit? You know what I mean?
yeah, I think Jamaica. It's interesting, right? Both you and I, you're in the UK, I'm in the States, and our kids are all, your kids are British, my kids are Americans. And one of the trend that I see sometimes is you'll have our kids will go back to Jamaica to visit,
Yeah.
and their connection is deeper than you and I, right? It's just like my son will say to me, "Dad, I want to go to the motherland." And he's not talking Africa. He said, "I want to go to Jamaica."
Yeah.
And I've had friends who sons or daughters have gone to Jamaica and they stayed there. They're there now
Mm.
because they feel a sense of connection. And the one thing I think, if Jamaica really, really get under control, and I use that very strategic of the word really, really. I know it's not good English, but that's fine. We're on top and sip.
Yeah.
Um, is the crime.
Mm.
So, boy, that's one of the questions to ask Peter Bunting, because Peter Bunting was the Minister of Security under the previous administration.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have multiple administrations have tried to tackle the problem of crime in Jamaica.
Mm.
And somehow we have not moved it forward in a way that, right, you can't eliminate all crimes, but you could get it in a sense where people feel safe. Because I do believe if Jamaica get that under control, there's a lot of folks from the diaspora will be go home. I'll give you an example, right? You see here a lot of Hispanics from Guatemala, Argentina, Honduras, you name it,
Yeah.
and they'll work here for 30 years. The minute all their kids are gone off to college, finished college, they go back and they send a ton of remittance back, but they build their houses there and they
Mm.
go back home. And my dad is about to retire, in a few years. And my stepmom, for them, they're like, okay, why would I go back to Jamaica with such high crime, right? And the other thing is solving some of the healthcare delivery, right? The healthcare system. So those two things, if the government could focus on them, I do believe that's where the diaspora, you'll see massive amount of folks from the diaspora go back
From
home, because we all have a lot of investments that we're making, right?
yeah.
So I think if they could solve that issue, that will create this wave of folks going back to Jamaica.
As you're talking about that and people going back, you always hear that. Like I got a couple mates who are into real estate, and like a city, you need to buy a land, or a city, you need to buy a property on there because the lands are going. But when you fly over Jamaica, when you're arriving in Jamaica, you see all these properties, and UDC own all these lands. One of the saying is that it was very interesting that when the Brits left, they left the lands and they left everything, which were all deemed to be crown lands, and those crown lands still exist in a
Yeah, but
sense
they're just under the government lands.
on the now on the UDC, and as they say one time was controlled by God. Was the guy was head
uh,
of UDC, and I'm saying to myself, hang on a second. The best way to start reparations, if people in the Highlands are very serious, is to challenge the present government, the governments, to apportion those lands to the people.
no, you're no,
Just like,
you're so right, right? What they say when they abolish slavery here, you get what 2 chains and a mule or something like that.
yeah,
Um, in Jamaica, you do have an issue with land ownership, right? You see the whole issue going on out in Bernard
Bernard
Lodge,
Lodge, yes, yes,
right?
yes,
Where former sugarcane enclave. Well, they still do sugarcane there, but people have decided what they call it squatters have decided to go and take on bill. And
mm,
what I heard is that there are communities that are being built, but they're being built by criminal elements. Again, this is what's been reported that now go sell land that is not theirs.
yes,
So, right, so you're seeing where the government started to do some demolition, and it caused issues where the prime minister had to go to Bernard's Lodge to talk to the folks. But he made a good point. He said, "Look, I'm a builder," but he said at some point in time, property rights is a huge part of our democratic process, right?
mm,
You and I chatted with this. If you have a piece of property, you're in the UK, I'm in the US. I wouldn't want someone to come pitch a tent in my driveway
yes,
and I can't remove that person, right? And what Andrew was saying, yes, we recognize there are a set of people who have been there for years, but the people who have come there in recent years, we got to move them away,
yes,
because if you continue that sort of trajectory, what will happen is that all of a sudden people could go squat anywhere and claim it's theirs.
yes. And and
So,
and it's interesting because I'm looking at this article here. I think it's Loop. I don't know if you can see it popped up on the screen there.
mhm.
Yeah. Um, that's who is that? That's Fitz Jackson, MP, member of
Yeah, because
Parliament.
I think he's the MP for that Burner Lodge area.
Yeah. He said a probe is to be carried out into reports that people with documents to show that they were given approval by the authorities to be on sections of Burnham Lodge property were also affected by a demolition exercise that took place on Thursday. And Jackson gave the update in an interview with the news after approximately 10 unfinished houses were destroyed. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Wednesday served notes that structures constructed illegally on lands reportedly captured and sold by gangsters in that era are to be destroyed. You know,
Yeah.
but listen, I don't know how true this is, but I just repeat it. You know, they're going to sue me or whatever like that. But I remember in Ocho Rios there, they say a lot of squatters came down and squatted on many lands to boost some particular votes.
Yeah, but you remember the whole issue with in Montego Bay. I forgot the name of it. Winter. You remember in Iron? Is it Iron Shore, Montego Bay? The man Winter, I think is the name,
Uh,
owned hundreds of acres, and he was in England. He left in England and had his property there, and
yes,
people went there and go squat. And he wanted back his land, but he couldn't get this land back because even though he was paying taxes for those lands, someone decided to go build houses on there.
yes,
And
yes,
you remember it cost a huge amount of riots because the court says that is legally his land. And I think I don't know exactly the outcome, but property rights is important. And I would say to people, if you want to make sure that you have the right and the entitlement to build on a property, make sure you go through the correct process.
yes,
Don't get that man who give you a piece of land for $100,000
And give
and
you a
then
receipt.
don't, pay for it.
No, they get a receipt.
Yeah, but I could get a receipt too, right?
They get a receipt. Then,
But the question is that is it that legal receipt? The person who's selling your land, did that person have the right to sell that land?
let's pick up on a point by JJ Media. But before we go to JJ Media, let us say hi to Michelle. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? Blessings, Michelle. Um, JJ Media made a good point here. And what the person said is, could Jamaica become an offshore country to give folks in the diaspora a financial investment to move and develop Jamaica, especially with the high success rate with the passport expo in the UK? That is the person. Let me see. That's the thing with the
Yeah,
high success rate. Yeah, let's pick up on that point that me JJ Media said.
I believe, I don't know what he means by the term offshore, but Jamaica does do foreign direct investment,
Oh,
and
JJ Media just messaged me and say it's me, but he used a different name. I know it is.
yeah, it's yeah, you anybody could do investment in Jamaica, right? You have the BPO. I think the deep water port. I think that's going to bring a lot of development into Jamaica once they finish that. The development of Port Royal, the Burnell Lodge development, agriculture mixed with housing. And when you look at it too, the Jamaican real estate market is one of the strongest in the world, right?
Yes.
If you bought a property 5, 6 years ago and you spent about 200,000 US dollars, that property is probably worth about 400,000 US dollars today,
Mm.
right? The Jamaican real estate market is very, very robust. And I do believe one of the reasons is because a lot in the diaspora are buying and building houses back in
Yeah.
Jamaica, right? And that's why you see there's a large percentage of people want to get their TRN number because you have to pay taxes. But I think JGL Media, I don't know if you heard the bit that we chatted before, but I do believe if Jamaica could solve the issue of crime in Jamaica and you know the healthcare system, I think you'll see more and more people will go back to Jamaica.
Mm.
And that's the issue is that some people who have left Jamaica would love to go back to Jamaica. They're worried about the crime and the lack of healthcare delivery system in Jamaica. So if the government could solve that, and maybe that's where the diaspora could help to say, how do we help the government solve those two challenges that there? Because if you're able to solve those two things, then to what GL Media is saying, you open up for a lot of people who want to go back to Jamaica, right? Because here's a bottom line: if you live in Miami, right, just like sometime I travel for work, I'll leave the house on Monday and come back on Thursday.
Mm.
Arguably, if you live in Miami, you could fly to Jamaica on a Monday morning. You could be there by 9 o'clock. You could do your thing. You could work, whatever, and you get on a flight back to Miami on Thursday. Right? It's an hour flight.
Is it a bit similar to when people normally fly to Miami from
Yeah,
Jamaica as well, back and forth very easy, like
exactly.
taking taxi? Yes.
Exactly. So how do you create that push and pull in terms of areas such as Miami? The mayor of Miami is a very progressive, young, he wants Miami to be the technological hub of the US, and he's getting a lot of companies to
Yeah.
move to Miami, like Citadel out of Chicago, one of the largest private equity company has actually
Yeah.
moved to Miami.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, how can Jamaica take advantage of that?
Yeah.
Right? The fact that Miami is becoming a technological hub.
Yes.
How can Jamaica benefit from that? Right? I do believe, and somebody could tell me if I'm wrong. I think there's fiber from Miami, undersea fiber from Miami to Jamaica.
Mm.
Right? That the old telecom, what they call it? Was it telecommunication company of Jamaica, TG something, or I forgot the name of it now, so forth.
Yeah.
It's now called lime. But to me, that's where Jamaica could take advantage of what's going on in Miami.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just positioning. Someone might want to call in or so like that. But um, JJ Media, if you come in on the link which I sent you, and just if you don't want to put your video on, just don't put on your video. Okay, there it is there. Um, yeah,
Oh,
yes, sir. JJ Media, how are you? We can hear you.
hello. Hey, how
Hey, hey,
you can hear
I'm good.
me?
Yeah, we hear
I
you
know
loud
I'm
and
on
direct.
soon because that's now
That's okay.
I was
You're putting on your
and
makeup, yeah?
success rate was very, you know,
Are you there?
It's
Okay,
breaking up.
it's coming. It's coming back there.
Yeah.
hold on a second.
So those are things that we could do, Silver.
Are you there? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. I'm just trying to put my camera on.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm trying to do it anyway. I don't know what's happened, but thank you very much for the platform for this opportunity. Um, I my background is of course Jamaican, born here, or Jamaican heritage, born in the UK. Parents are Jamaican, and I was very impressed with the whole delivery of the opportunity of the expo of getting the citizenship and the passport. Now there was a lot of people I saw getting their passports and documentation who are about my age group. So I would say what the 35, 45 bracket mark,
Yeah.
and you know, and okay, we get the citizenship, we get the passport. What else can get us is more to get us put money into the country. And if we have incentives, this should be more publicized or easy opportunities where we can put or tax haven, whatever it may be, to encourage us to put our money in the country. And that will help Jamaica because if more money comes in, which is, making the economy stronger, we can, the infrastructure and crime and everything else it will support the policies and initiative in that area. Now, getting a passport is brilliant. It was successful. How can we get these people like my generation investing in Jamaica? And the only thing is by giving tax, something personal, which will give.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think JC, you're breaking up, but I think we got the gist of it
We
to
got the gist of
say,
the saying. Yeah. So
right?
breaking up. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Keep
now
talking.
that you have the passport, now that you have the TRN number, what are some of the incentives that the government should put in place to attract investment from sort of that cohort of, sort of Jamaican heritage that is willing to make investments in Jamaica? Um, there's a couple of things that I think could happen, and this is where the lobbying of the policymakers, both within the UK and the US, is important, right? Cayman Island, you could set up a structure there tax free.
Yeah.
Jamaica does not have that incentives yet, and some of it is because of policy from the US. So, for example, if I have, I believe the threshold right now is $50,000 in a Jamaican account, I have to report that to the IRS, and
Yes.
you're taxed on it.
Is that 50,000 Jamaican dollars?
No, US. I think it's
US
US
dollars.
dollars,
Okay.
right? So, and some of it is because there's this whole adage around criminal elements and drug money and stuff like that. So, what could happen is where the Jamaican government is lobbying the US government or the British government to say, we're going to incentivize in these structures. So O'Neill could go invest $1 million somewhere and not get taxed on that full million. And it's the same thing with UK. UK has this tax structure where, and keep me honest, Silver, and where, you're taxed on the gross of everything, even if you have stuff in Jamaica. So there's a disincentive for me to go invest because I'm going to get taxed twice.
That's
But if you
right.
become
Yes,
something like a
absolutely.
Cayman Island, right? But if you become something like a Cayman Island, where now you could have tax shelters and investment, it could work, but I think it's going to take work by the Jamaican government, and also the diaspora can help advocate these policies. Is what I
That's the
think.
only reason. I mean, that's the only, because yes, it was excited, lovely going on a holiday, getting a what? It's finance needed. So the more money is in more liquidity in the country, it can help other initiatives and all these, that's what the government needs to look at. Okay, because there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people have signed up and got their passports, and they're young people as well. What's going to happen out of this? How can we encourage people coming? Yeah, go on.
No, finish your point,
So,
and I'll
so
come.
go on.
Finish
And I
your
said,
point,
like,
and
for
I.
example, encourage.
Yeah.
Yes, like encourage, like, for example, if remote working, coming to Jamaica and working in Jamaica, you get tax breaks, you're able to invest, and you're able to, you something just encourage more of people going to Jamaica and feeling it as a place where they can do business and also create some form of investment to the country.
I come in discussion the other day. We're talking about what's the most foreign exchange earner, and they were talking about remittance. And put this out there. I'm used to where I land with this one. Remittance, is remittance a foreign earner? Is it money earned? Is it foreign exchange that Jamaica earn, or is it money that people send to their families? But by default, of course, they're going to use that money to pay bills and to buy groceries and all those sort of things, and create, of course, employment, because money is coming into the system. But would you say it is money earned?
It's it all depends on the definition you look at it so
Yes.
far. But Simon made a great point, right? During the pandemic, what Barbados did was Barbados invited remote workers into Barbados to say,
Oh
Yeah.
my
if you
goodness.
come to Barbados and you spend whatever time frame, all tax free. So there's a sort of people who went to Barbados because you could call it they get tax holiday.
Yeah.
So I think, Simon, one thought that popped in my head, and this has been floated around in different forms over the years, and I do believe, I don't think Jamaica should do a bond, but should Jamaica do a sovereign wealth fund? In
A
a
sovereign wealth
sovereign
fund.
wealth fund where people from the diaspora could contribute to those sovereign wealth fund that then use for investment in, tourism, investment in agriculture. Obviously, we need to expand and get to a larger scale, more industrial based agriculture. So could Jamaica know, to your point, everyone now have a passport, a TRN? Should
Yeah.
the advocacy now become, how do we push the policymakers to create a sovereign wealth fund?
Is it O'Neill? What you just said there a while ago is what Delana Franklin, and we're talking about from 2004 2006 with the Jamaica diaspora, called the diaspora bond. It
Right.
is, yeah. Oh, Simon is here. Oh, his image is there. Okay, he's balling.
Yeah.
Oh, you're balling. We're all balling. Welcome to the balling crew. What are you drinking? What are you drinking? On your face, you gotta be drinking something, you know. What are you
I'm
drinking?
not far from it. Far from it. Far from it. Far from it. No, I know, Silver. You've always, you're always doing these programs, and I said one day we'll contribute, and here I am now. I think yesterday I was so impressed with the whole Jamaican initiative, and how can business talk now, like practical stuff, touch the money. What can you, if I put something in, what am I going to get out of it? Of course, because that's why these countries are offshore and everything else. But anyway, I wanted to dissect into, you was talking, so.
Yeah, O'Neill was actually responding to you. O'Neill, I don't even want to sort of rehash.
No, so what I'm saying, Simon, is, you make a point that if this program, in terms of getting Jamaicans to get the papers, passport, TRN, and so forth, and they're going to do similar things in the US, then what? And, there's a thought, and Silver talked about, you know, should Jamaican government now push towards what we call a sovereign wealth fund, where diaspora could invest in that sovereign wealth fund and obviously it's a bond, so there's a certain returns you get on it, and that fund then could be used for, say, building out or maturing the industrial and agricultural base that Jamaica needs to get to, or the deep water port that they're looking to build out, right? So if you look at major infrastructure that is going on in Jamaica right now, a lot of that investment is actually coming out of China. The first major highway that was refurbished in Jamaica, if my memory serves me right, was done by the French, right? And now the Chinese are making major investment.
Mhm.
So could be a case where rather than the Chinese is investing, because obviously the Chinese want something back, right?
Of course, it's naturalist business. When they got the
Exactly.
ROI, return on investment.
Exactly. Should that have been the Jamaican diaspora community that says, we're
Absolutely.
going to establish the sovereign wealth fund that then provide the funding to do major infrastructure such as what is going on there.
Yeah.
So it's something for them to think about. I do believe Jamaica needs to figure out how to make doing business in Jamaica much, much easier. Right now it's
Absolutely.
hard. I have friends in
Unless you're
Jamaica.
Chinese.
It's
Sorry.
hard,
I'm sorry.
right?
I said
It's
unless you're
hard.
Chinese. Yeah, but yeah, it's hard. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think those are the things that they could try to do. And I'll share a story without saying the first. I know someone there trying to do, and she's a woman, which is the other thing that we need to figure out. And she's living here and she's trying to go back to build some stuff, and make investment, and it's been really, really difficult. And Tilburn, this is something to put to Mark and Andrew, is that because she's a woman, which was really, really, what word I want to use? I can't find a word that I could use on live that is going to be appropriate. But in a sense, every person not every person, but majority of person that she has tried to engage with want something from her. They want to sleep with her. She's like, O'Neill, I had to leave because, she's like, I'm a single woman. I want to invest. And she's like, every spectrum of the way. Oh, if you want this permit, right, you know
Yeah.
what you need to do. Yeah, she decided after 6 months there to just come back here, reset, and now she's trying again. And if we could create the environment where people like her who want to invest in Jamaica, it's easy and it's not these 4 or 5 families that control Jamaica. I think you'd see major investment more into Jamaica.
It's very interesting what you say there, because that is one sort of example of somebody people want to take advantage of. But of course, I know of people who have been back home and wanting to make an indent into the system and to sort of contribute back, Simon, into Jamaica, but somehow they feel blocked along the way. So where do they go? They find a way right back here into the UK. And when people were actually getting their passports, and I was glad that Victoria Mutual was there, Jamaica National was there, Integrated Diaspora was there, and lots of people. I was sitting next to the person with the Integrated Diaspora with the TRN. People are coming and asking about TRN. These are British people, young British persons, third generation. What is this TRN? They want to go to Jamaica. They want to do business. So Jamaica is like an idea. So what we have seen there, and I'm sure that the persons who are there will translate that back to the government of Jamaica and to the powers that be, that there's an opportunity to tap into the third generation. I mean, like Korea, they're part of Jamaica Inspired, but whether they know of Jamaica Inspired or not, but lots of people wanted to tap in. And as you say, Simon, and as what O'Neill said, it is how they can find some avenues where they don't feel like it's just an idea, but they can generate something and not just giving to families or to friends to give them fish, but even giving people opportunity to fish.
Well, this is it. Because this is this opportunity of a lot of young people, or British people like myself, who've now signed up to get our passport citizenship. This will be, maybe it's a part of their strategy. Maybe it's already. That's why they did this expo at such a high level.
Yes.
Maybe that because we can work remotely now. We can actually take our business and operate in different jurisdictions. And if you're working remotely, the government gives you I don't know, something to you have an account. They can give you credit, they can give you loans, and all these things as well. There's the opportunity to we might not get a mortgage in say for example in the UK, but because go to Jamaica where the credit terms are a bit more different, and you get a mortgage. I don't know. It's all those things there to create revenue streams.
Well, Shelley and Brown just said not just hard, and that's the same point you mentioned, Anil, but also need to make it safe to do so.
Absolutely.
Atmosphere.
I think, Simon, you're onto something where you're talking about the whole hybrid, right? And Jamaica is pretty close proximity. We're talking about you could take a flight from Miami and get to Jamaica in an hour. East Coast, you could get to Jamaica in 3 hours. I wonder if the Jamaican government now start thinking about how do I take advantage of the hybrid world? How do I create an incentive structure, as you just said, to say, look, you could come work here, but the other part of that puzzle there, Simon, is how do I get companies in the US and also the UK that embrace that, right? Without saying you're going to localize the pay, meaning if you decide to go to Jamaica for 6 months or a year or 2 years, do they then reduce your salary to localize, or there's some sort of agreement between the UK, Jamaica,
like a treaty or something,
exactly, where you could come and do all that kind of stuff. So
I give an incentive,
right. Those are incentives that you could try to figure out, right? But the safety, to what Shelley-Ann just said, I believe there's 2 things that is important that needs to be fixed: is healthcare delivery and also right? Because if you fix the healthcare delivery, I don't know the number, but I know the last time I checked, we probably have about 5 or 6 million Jamaican that live in outside of Jamaica, or Jamaican heritage, either born there or first or second Jamaica. So if you think of now where the wave of Jamaicans who came to the UK is in the 70s and the 80s, they're now retiring, right? They're now retiring. Majority of them are not going back to Jamaica for 2 reasons: safety and healthcare, right? So you probably
if they are going back to Jamaica, a lot of them are. I mean, it's just generalizing. So to O'Neill, to interrupt you, I'm retiring. I'm not thinking about setting up some revenue. I mean, well, you can retire, but it's a different mindset. That's why the country has a high population of retirees. I mean, but it's and the healthcare is important as well, of course, and security.
I think those retirees, because we had a gentleman here on the program, Simon, a couple of months ago, and he retired from the UK and back in Jamaica in Mandeville, where he started a business, a restaurant. I think I remember still growing a healthcare business, him and his wife. So you have folks who have retired and now go back home and start a second career. Is the incentive structure and making it easy, because as I said before, the red tape, right? And I do believe the culture in Jamaica has to evolve, where you move away from the fact that you have 5 or 6 families that control the country, right? You have the Stewarts, the Matlans, the Issas, you name it. Somehow those families have to say, how do I join and invest together with Simon or Silverburn or whatever? And it's not just this forever 5 or 6 family that control majority of the wealth there. So,
I just posted this message, just came to me on WhatsApp, because person sometimes send a message and it said, loving the show, we're on the move, let's all go home and take our children to build our own in our home. But you see what Mark said, sorry, the gentleman, I know his name is Mark. What Mark is actually saying is a point, which is saying, would people go home or go back to Jamaica if the conditions were right the health system was right, and they said we're on the move and build. Because when you mentioned about the hybrid bit there, if it was during COVID and traveling was okay, I know that in a way because being to the fact that I never had to go into the office, period. I could have actually fly to Jamaica and go for a month or so and still do my cases same way. I'll be meeting as long as there's Wi-Fi.
Mm.
As long as there's Wi-Fi. You know, and that is something that needs to be really tapped into. And I think that's a BPO again, isn't it? I mean, that's a sort of BPO mentality. It's I've spoken to Amazon sometimes, speaking to someone, and they're from Orcharias. Sorry, I keep saying Orcharias. It may not be from Orcharias, but I just say everybody's from Orcharias.
I wonder why.
This little small place in Jamaica that nobody even know where Orchard. Not tourists, you don't even know where Orchard.
Simon, when you get your citizenship, are you going to be assigned to a town in Jamaica?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be assigned to my father's town. I'm not sure.
Is that
Yeah,
Orchard?
that's Mandeville, not Orchard. So
But adding to that, it's like the Jamaican government. I'm sure this is probably they happen already because I'm not invited to have the seat at the table yet. I should say that they must thinking if they have people from the United Kingdom flying over there for 6 months and creating that incentive, the Jamaican government's giving something to them and the British government's getting something from them, and they can create like a treaty or something and benefit from it.
Samuel, are you using your phone or what? I'm
using my phone. That's what I think I have. So sorry.
No, it's not. No, it's not that. We're distorted. We're hearing you. We're hearing
I'm
you.
using my phone. Yeah, sorry.
But sometimes we're cutting off. We're cutting off. Yeah.
Okay.
Slowly. Yeah.
So I was saying that I mean, I presume it's something could be discussions happening already, like for the United Kingdom, like someone like myself who was going to Jamaica, still can be employed, still can have some of the same, enjoy the same rights as if I was in Jamaica and have an arrangement with the two countries for that incentive to happen. And Jamaica needs to, and these 4-5 families find a way where you can have partnership with them, or they, in a sense, they still want to making sure they're protecting their heritage and their family fortune, whatever it may be. But find a way that how they still get a reward
Simon,
to some degree.
Yeah, Simon, we're losing it.
You're
not in Jamaica.
Okay, all right.
Are you using Flow or Digicel? I don't know.
I'm using
you're breaking up.
It's breaking up. Yeah.
I'm needing a monitor.
They're coming in choppy.
I tell you what you do. If you come back in, find somewhere else and come back in and maybe come in without the video to see if it can be a bit more smooth.
I go into my laptop.
I know somebody messaged. Sorry.
I'm going to my laptop.
Fantastic.
Yeah, good.
Okay, wait for you.
You know the interesting thing, Silborn, and I'm not sure if this happened, that the people who are signing up for passport, there could be a quick little survey to ask the question, why are you signing up for the passport, right? Because there are times when hopefully there are people who are not signing up for the passport to get discount when you go to the hotels, right? Because there's a different rate.
Hold on. That's what we're saying. No, a lady was there at the desk one time and she said, "Do I need a passport?" And everybody was saying, "Yeah, man, you need a passport, man." When I go to Jamaica, just flash it and say, "Where I say, man? Where I say?" And somebody said, "How will they know?" I said, "Don't worry, they will know. They'll smell you. They'll just know so you come from foreign still. I try."
But no, I hear now what the hotels do. You need a driver's license.
Yeah, but what if you don't have a driver's license? You're not forced to have a driver's license, is it?
Most people in Jamaica, but they see you driving.
But man, I drive from long time without license.
So it'd be good to survey that crowd and find out what was the reason they got the passport. Because this gentleman obviously was not born in Jamaica, but parents are Jamaican.
Yes.
And the question would be, it seems he's interested in go back in and do stuff in Jamaica. It'd be good understand that.
I tell you this. and I was on the steering committee of the planning as to where and the thinking of to make this thing a success. And myself and the head of Victoria Mutual were there standing and watching with Korea and was monitoring what's happening. I would say, okay, we're seeing some local areas where it can be better in the future. But one thing for sure, a lot of people were actually saying this is really good. Like they need to have this at least once a year. But as you rightly say, what we missed out on is capturing data. The data is there because of the fact that they got all these people, but it wasn't that digitalized. Somebody should have been actually going around, if anything. I tell you, yeah, we I won't say we missed out on opportunity, but there's an opportunity was missed, really, in a sense, how to tap into that crowd. I mean, at around 12 o'clock, the head of it, Mr. Winter, was saying over 500 so far. And when you look outside, the queue was just circling.
Yeah.
And when
so,
I left,
No, so you want to figure out, to me, that's a rich set of data that you could leverage for other things, right? And to what Simon is saying, what's next? How do you message to that group afterwards? Once okay, you have your passport.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a second generation, because if you're born in the U.S., you could get a Jamaican passport if your parents are Jamaican heritage. You have to show what you need to show in the UK to get that passport.
To get what?
The Jamaican passport. So if say for example, your kids, if your son want a passport, what would he have to show?
Okay, for him to get his, he would have to get his citizenship first, and that would be on the basis of me. And
okay. So before you get the passport, you have to get the citizenship first.
Yeah. When I got my British passport, it was after I got my citizenship. I had to go to Lewisham Town Hall and swear allegiance to the Queen. And after that, you get that sort of authority. And then you can make an application for your British passport.
You see, here's a little bit depending on the country. Like Egypt, for example, you just need to show that your parents are Egyptian, and you get the passport and the citizenship at the same time.
So as Shelley said a while ago, as I said, you have to naturalize first. I don't think somebody can. I don't know. I'd have to ask them if they can go there and get that passport right away for their citizens, for their children. Also,
yeah, because like for example, my daughter in Italy, for her, just have to do what you call. I just have to go to the consulate, show my paperwork, and then they'll give her a passport and our citizenship right there.
Yeah.
So, I saw you. So Lester is not on today because I saw Lester post something. Where's Lester?
I think maybe Lester is fighting the battle for Bernard Lodge. Let me see. Simon.
Hi, I'm back.
That's much better.
Doesn't matter. The most important thing, while we love to see your face and your hairstyle and your Johnny Gill look, the authentic
my various different hairstyle anyway, but yes.
The authentic voice is a key thing where we can hear what you're actually saying. What we're saying a while ago, Simon, is that an opportunity, I wouldn't say it has been missed because information has been captured by emails, I believe. Because when I wrote my passport and my application for my email was captured. So I would encourage Mr. Winter and the RGD guys to actually send you a survey, even if a survey monkey, to actually ask some salient questions to persons who came there. Why, why they want the passport. Okay. I would say to renew my Jamaican passport, I like to be authentic. Because you know that there's something else, O'Neill, that they have. If you got a British passport and you don't want to get another passport, a Jamaican passport, there's this thing which is called unconditional landing. Yep.
Hmm? What's that?
Unconditional. You know what it
Say
is?
more. What's that?
Unconditional landing is whereby you can get that in your passport, and then guess what? You can stay in Jamaica for as long as, not long as possible.
So it's like what they call there's a term for it. If you buy property in
Indefinite right to remain.
in places, you get these stamp where you could go in and out of the country as you please.
Yeah, yeah. It sort of give you unrestricted time in the country. Normally, if you, that's why when I go to Jamaica and I show my British passport, if anything, and they're trying to make it difficult, I just flash my Jamaican one, and then I have no problem.
Mm.
In a sense, that's so long you can stay in the country or so, you know. Um, but Simon, just picking up on yourself and your peers or so, you would be very keen to play a part in Jamaica, investing in Jamaica, and to be very productive in Jamaica. Is it that you don't want to go there to live, or just want to have it as a investment state?
Have it the best of best of both worlds, because I recently just came back from Jamaica. I was there about 2 weeks ago. I was there
Yeah,
for more of a social engagement, and I was able to work remotely, connect remotely, and I was myself, well, that was the only thing what really kept me really, because how am I going to be working, and then I'm not in it. I'm sorry. When I was over there for the 2 weeks ago, I looked at the opportunity thinking, yes, I could, get a small place out to rent, whatever, work, earn money in sterling, give someone a job, create jobs, and do something constructive and add value rather than just coming as a holiday for 2 weeks and going back to the rat race again.
mm,
And I
Mm.
believe that, not believe, but I believe there's a lot of people like in my networks, like Corey and Nathaniel,
yes,
are in this situation where they're doing lots of stuff over there in in the name of Jamaica. But there's more of us out who can join that situation and have the opportunity to go back
yeah,
and bring value to the country.
yeah,
Yeah.
If
yeah,
I'm the UK and I'm hiring someone from Jamaica or doing investment in Jamaica or doing something, it's just to give something a return on investment.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Keep
So I
talking,
think
guys. I'm just making
somehow
a call to someone from the RGD. I'm see if I
no,
can
I
get
think
him.
somehow they have to incentivize that, and then
Mm,
what's infrastructure like for example, right? I don't know what they have. They probably have them in London there, Simon. There's WeWork, right?
yeah,
How do
like a
you
WeWork.
create
There you go.
that
There you go.
right infrastructure like that in Jamaica where you could go and you could spend time there, right? WeWork or shared office spaces or whatever the case may be, right? So
Absolutely.
those are some of the infrastructure. Hopefully, the government is thinking about how you attract talent. Because one of my soapbox moment, I always say a lot of people talk about major investment in the BPO industry. I
Mhm.
said that that's very short term because once a lot of these companies refine the whole natural language processing where you're using chatbots and bots, then majority of those jobs are gone because you're automating a lot of those jobs. Now, when you call any one of those customer service companies, majority of it is done through their chatbots. So 5 years from now, that BPO industry in Jamaica has to evolve into something else.
Mhm.
Because as a company that has large customer service ecosystem, I don't need 400 people in Jamaica answering the phone,
You could absolutely don't.
right? So to me, they have to figure out how to evolve. I think that Jamaica has really good universities. I just saw that they opened a campus in Turks and Caicos,
Mhm.
UWI opened a campus there. So when you look at the fact that we have good university, how do we embrace technology? We were talking about the fact that Miami is becoming the technology hub. Huge. They have a very progressive mayor there that
Mhm.
he's attracting all the big companies. They're going to be probably laying the infrastructure for a really smart city. How you use data, and the question becomes: Jamaica is an hour away from there, right?
Absolutely, and it's like just O'Neill, so to interrupt you. I mean, and just all my data and Sylvan. I'm not, please, I'm not here to criticize. I'm just stating the fact that the whole passport thing was very paper driven, and I'm saying to myself, hopefully I mean, I have to own it. The transactional side is cash, all paper driven. I'm thinking to myself, I hope I get my paper back. I mean, I believe I will, but it's like it's bound. It's the volume of people in a
Yes.
paper-centric environment. It's just that in this day and age for
You
data.
know, someone said to me, I might be getting the chief executive officer of the Registrar General Department. He may come on. He's still at the place there, but he's gonna try and come on for a few minutes.
Okay.
Someone else said to me that you have to understand different diaspora, and they said Canada is very up to the. Okay, here's Mr. McFarlane. Okay, this is the Registrar General. Hi, Sir McFarlane. How are you doing, sir?
Tired.
You must
You're
be
tired.
tired, brother. You must have worked hard.
Well, let me just introduce it. Ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Charlton McFarlane. He's the Chief Executive Officer for the Registrar General Department in Jamaica. And more than likely, if you're just born like yesterday, like Simon, if you're born in Jamaica, his name would be on your birth certificate. So McFarlane, we'll catch a quick.
Would it be on a naturalization? It would no, that's just not your on your birth certificate. Birth certificate, death certificate.
Yeah, tell us about what happened today and your feedback. Sorry, O'Neill is in the is in the States, and Simon is here in the UK. And of course, yeah, tell us about the whole event, sir, and your feedback.
Well, let me tell you, I've been on a number of outreaches, right? We have done Canada, we have done, Orlando, and we would have done the tri-state area in the US in the past. We have done Cayman Islands and Turks and Caicos, but this UK outreach, I've never seen the demand that high anywhere else.
Yeah.
All right. We finished with, I thought we finished with our last customer after 11. And when I was walking out, Silver, when I was walking out to come to a quiet space to do this interview, I saw my staff with 2 more persons. Right. And of course, really and truly, from Andrew and I were making the plans to come over.
Yes.
We both said we will leave when the last person gets served. You know what I mean? And that's precisely what we are doing. The fact is that to me, it is probably an indicator of a greater demand. You know what I mean? In terms of the number of persons that turn out to update their birth certificates, to regularize their Jamaican documents. Right. And I am actually, even as an economist, thinking about the spin-off, because these are persons who are expressing an interest to get Jamaican citizenship, right? To come to Jamaica, to invest in Jamaica, right? And it's good. It's really good. Of course, I would have learned a lot of lessons from this outreach.
Yeah.
One of the things I had to do to ease the frustration and stuff is I came here with 2 other staff members, and what I had to do was to put 2 others in Jamaica, because we have the technology, of course, and over time. So we were actually working with 4 customer service reps, 2 virtually and 2 physically.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah. And that's what we had to do to manage the crowd, right? And of course the staff is, I think my staff, has shown just how willing they are to just work and to just assist. It's a service that we offer. These are persons who really and truly aspects of their lives may be on pause because they don't have these documents, and that's never a good feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So yes, it's just a good feeling overall. We are happy to be a part of it. We are happy to bring the service, and also bring the service in an environment that was made fun and as light as possible because of the attitude. You know, I was there talking to persons in
Yeah.
patois, people laughing at me,
Yeah.
saying it's long time. Them no hear somebody say go up. You know what I mean, and stuff like
But
that. But
Mr. Yeah, go on.
yeah, but what it did was it just lightened the atmosphere. So
Yeah.
persons were waiting, right? But it lightened the atmosphere. And you know, when we started to walk the floors and it's, you know, so what you are do now? You're sure the why never come a long time. You just not wait for me to come in. It really lightened
Yeah.
the atmosphere. And it was a good day, man. It was a good 5 days.
Yeah. Let's ask Simon. Oh, Simon, you wanted to ask Mr. Carter?
No, I would just add in that because of the whole environment and keeping that momentum up and going. When we do receive these documents, I understand the High Commission do ceremonies, but because of the volume is so high that when we do get our passports and stuff or naturalization, for my case because I'm born here, is there going to be like some ceremony just to keep that momentum going? So it's a special thing. I don't know if it's something you would come over or something that could be done. And then, of course, there's a lot of people between my age group, 30 and 45, who want to do business in Jamaica.
I think Mr. McFarlane, that's Mr. Winter regarding ceremony.
So it would be both of us.
Okay.
You know, but I can't. I mean, I'm not seeing. I can't see any rationale why Andrew would not be interested in something like that, because what it shows also is not just us coming and do the service, but our commitment and efficiency in follow through, right?
So graduated. It feels like, it's a memorious. Yeah,
exactly.
And that emotions makes you spend your money and want to invest. Yeah,
exactly.
So, Mr. McFarlane, you mentioned that you've done tri-state. I'm in Virginia. You've done tri-state, Orlando, and somehow UK. It's much more. Silverburn before you came on talked about line wrapped around. What do you think is different in the UK? Because tri-state in New York, Bronx, Connecticut, huge Jamaican community, right? And I'm just inferring from what you said. You didn't get that amount of people. What do you think are the drivers in the UK versus here in the tri-state?
I think it's Windrush.
It could be a lot of things. It could be a function of the fact that the RGD hasn't been to the UK since about 2018, right? That could be the key function. I can't tell you when was the last time Pika was here, but I do know for the RGD that we tend to visit because we get invited sometimes as well to be a part of outreaches being hosted by other organizations. But we do get invited fairly often to the tri-state area too. Up to last year, October, Andrew and the team, myself, were in the Connecticut, New Jersey, that side. So the frequency with which we visit those areas is a lot higher, I would say. And so maybe what we are seeing is pent-up demand, but it could be other things as well. But I would want to believe that the fact that we haven't been here in a while, would be a driver there.
So go ahead.
No, and I said before you came on, we're sort of ideating around. You're touching a lot of folks who obviously, as Simon was talking about, who are interested in investing in Jamaica. We talked about how if we could solve the crime and the hospital delivery system, you could get a wave of people who want to come to Jamaica and do major investment. Some of us are doing that. How are you capturing that data? So now you have, I don't know the number, Mr. McFarlane, 1,000, 2,000 people that you're able to connect with, right? What's the next step after that, right? They get all their paperwork, as Simon is saying. How do you take that data set and now start leveraging them for investment in areas in Jamaica that we need to mature?
Well, so what I think, frankly speaking, is something that we need to develop in terms of the type of data we collect and in terms of the persons we serve. So again, I can only speak to the RGD side of things. We don't collect, all right. We simply provide, birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, right? And these are really documents that persons technically should not really have a choice in terms of obtaining, right? There shouldn't necessarily be a reason. It's almost like a public good. So we tend not to capture questions or data around the why, right? Okay. However, I think maybe PICA should if they don't, so questions such as what's the reason for applying for citizenship? Maybe that is something that I don't know if they collect it, but if they do, or if they don't, they probably could look into it, because I can see a Planning Institute of Jamaica, for example, and a Statistical Institute of Jamaica being very interested in this. I can also see a Jampro, Jamaica Productions, being very interested in getting that type of data to know that, hey, listen, there is significant interest in the UK, in the US, in Toronto for persons applying for citizenship because they want to invest, or because they want to retire, or because they want their kids to come to school, because of several reasons. So I think it's useful planning information and also useful forecasting information. Whether or not it's collected, I know my agency does not. However, I think it's something that should be collected, and maybe PICA could look into collecting, that kind of data.
And Mr. McFarlane, maybe even the organizers meetings before, maybe something we learn that can actually have some sort of surveys being done at the same time while the people are in the queue, if anything. But also, I'll mention it to Mr. Winter, because if there's a way they can, I don't know, do something, some anonymous, because there's a wealth of information that we can have that can help Jamaica as well. So you guys are actually doing that frontline service, but there's that secondary information that we can actually tap into. And I appreciate that. Do you think Mr. Winter might be around?
Apart, he was working, he was, because let me tell you, the PICA has probably another 50 persons in the hall waiting on service.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I passed him, he's just outside of where I am doing this interview now. He was with a customer.
Yes.
Mr.
Any last word, guys? I don't want to keep Mr. McFarlane.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Simon, you had any last words from?
No. I'm just saying the reason why I think the UK is very high demand is because we've got the Windrush. I mean, my parents came over, my grandparents came over in the late early 50s, and you got all these people who are like my generation. Their grandparents are now not here, and they're just like, this is an opportunity to be a part of Jamaica, and this is why you got a lot of probably young people signing up.
Yes.
And lockdown, we couldn't travel. We only could travel to Jamaica if we had a Jamaican national passport, and all those factors as well.
Yeah.
And I'd say something else. The only last is, as you're doing these tours, do you see in the future where, given the demand in the UK, that you put a permanent liaison in the UK on an ongoing basis?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe there was a time in the past, several years ago, when that was actually a feature, right? But of course, that would have to be a business decision. Certainly, if we put an office, anywhere we put an office, the activity and volume would have to pay for itself.
Exactly.
Right. So it's something to look at. Certainly, we could look at the business case for having a permanent, or if not permanent, perhaps even a 6-month placement per se, right? In the consulate or wherever. So it's certainly something to look at.
I tell you what Simon said something a while ago, and I'll just say this. I believe also one of the reasons why there's been this increase is that the UK is coming out of this period of the Windrush fiasco, and lots of persons, you must have experienced that. People, grandparents, passports all mixed up, birth certificates all mixed up is one thing. Trying to sort it
Yeah.
out, names spelled incorrectly.
We got a lot of that.
That's when I was one of them.
After that.
You know. So listen, Sir McFarlane, listen, I want to thank you so much. And
Yeah, man.
and just to say, the few people that I brought towards you, also everybody was just very pleased. And I interviewed a couple of ladies outside, and they were saying they just like the warm atmosphere, the customer service. They said customer service was so tops, and the way I mean, I saw how you operated. You're sitting there, but at the same time, while you're engaging with your staff, you're also looking out for the people at the same time. You got that roving eyes, which was really good. And the way your staff were doing, I think he was actually giving them water to drink. You're feeding them directly, weren't you? Your staff.
That's very good. That's very good. You won't get that over here, trust me.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, no problem. We touch base, and I've got your digits and everything. Thank you so much, and say hi to your staff again as well.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you, and have a good
Mr.
one.
McFarlane.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good evening. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So yeah, so it's interesting what he said. I mean, Mr. McFarlane, Mr. Winter, who is the CEO of Picker, who could speak more into those other bits regarding the passport, you know. Yeah. Well, what's your take on that before? I'm going to wrap up early tonight. What's your take?
Yeah.
What's your take on the little discussion with Mr. McFarlane?
No, it's good service. I think they could make the process more effective and efficient if you combine it where, meaning most countries now, if you show your mother passport or some documentation that says, you have heritage from Jamaica, you're able to get the citizenship right
Yeah.
away. So,
Yeah.
you could go, for example, the Italian embassy here, show your grandfather passport, shows yours, and you could get an Italian or European passport,
Yes.
right? So somehow you can make the process more efficient, and that could, to Simon's point, incentivize more people because now you're getting the citizenship and you're getting the passport at the same time.
You know, Simon,
Yeah.
Mr. on WhatsApp said Simon has a good idea about ceremony to celebrate the naturalization of people, which will help incentive and encourage our people to go home and build the wealth of our home. Were you actually saying that the ceremony would be in Jamaica?
Oh no, I'm just saying it. I presume it would be. No, I'm presumption it would be more in the UK. I mean, because
actually, I think it would be great if it's in Jamaica.
of
I
course,
think
we
you would
look at the financial.
Oh, yeah.
influence. The
So they're
financial.
gonna have it. So they're gonna have it in Ocherius on the beach or something
Of
like that. That would
course,
be
no,
awesome.
Montego Bay.
Now, you know what I just heard happen? Ocherius, there's a bridge that link Ocherius to the mainland just got severed, and there's no Ocherius anymore.
Any last word, guys?
In the UK would be more. In the UK, would be more fitting, and I think the right personnel to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. But any last word on the whole overview regarding investment and the opportunities that just summing up for people for tapping into Jamaica, the idea, the interest.
So I think the key here, and obviously I'm not a investment. I'm not giving investment here advice here.
Yes.
You get professional, but people put their money where they could take it out easily.
There you go.
You have to make the investment easy, and you have to make the return easier, right? So if I could put £5,000 in JMMB and I get 5% return, that probably incentivized me to put my money there. But it has to be a mechanism where I can get it out easy, right?
Yeah.
And I think if the investment environment is conducive, I think people will invest. And then I think I keep harping on the 2 points. If you solve the healthcare issues and you solve the safety issues, and you make it attractive for people to invest, and you create a climate and an environment, and you're leveraging the technology to the fullest as possible, people will invest. There's no reason why Jamaica should not be the technology hub for the Caribbean. We have good university, we have strong talent. There's no reason that we should not capitalize on those.
Yes, yes. Simon, last word.
Absolutely, capitalization on using the digital economy in Jamaica. That is forefront, and the healthcare system. I understand what Oni was saying, but even have incentives where people can start paying to private things and actually have that opportunity. But anyway, I know time's of the essence, but
Yeah,
very much.
yeah.
It's all right.
So guys, listen.
Digitalization.
Yeah. Anil, listen, have a good one. Peace out. Simon, thank you for showing your face.
Finally.
Finally. All right, see you guys.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Anil.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. We want to finish early tonight because I can say for myself that I've been burning the midnight lamp both ways from Wednesday. Well, I'm busy court cases preparing, but also supporting the passport initiative with the Mr. McFarlane from the Registrar General Department, and also Mr. Winter from the Passport Immigration Citizenship Agency, and you can see the success, the way our people turned out, and the fact that they are still there. They are still there now. Mr. Winter, 50 persons, I believe he said, is still there, waiting to be served, and the Registrar General about 2 persons. This event was supposed to be from 9 to 4 p.m. 9 to 4 p.m. But they said something when we had our preliminary discussion that they will not leave until the last person goes, is dealt with, and that is what is happening. So at 23:35, the people at the passport immigration doing their work before they leave, go back to Jamaica. I was inviting some of them and said, anybody want to go to church? I said, we're going to have church in our bed. so great for that. And also, it was good actually linking up with the politicians from Jamaica, Mark Golden, Peter Bunting, Michael Phillips, Julian Robinson, and Aluna Samba, when they came to the UK to talk about their vision for Jamaica, because of course they're looking to be the next government. And I believe whether one is aligned politically or not to a political party, I believe it's very good and important to engage with the political parties and hear what they have to say. And I think that is really good. So without further ado, have a good night. Remember to like and share the videos. Hey, how are you, Wayne? Wayne, you didn't miss it, Wayne. That's all right. You can watch it on a replay. Go onto YouTube and watch it on a replay. Actually, I've heard very good comments about Canada when you guys, when they do the pickup, and you guys are very technically savvy. That's what they said. The UK is paper savvy when it comes on to these things. That's what they say, Wayne. Over there, Canada is very good at it. So the UK definitely will have to step up when it comes on to technology, when it comes on to passport. There's tons of papers. Everything has got to be digital as much as possible. That's the way it is. That's the way it is going. People sometimes run away from social media. Oh, I don't want to do that. Well, that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. We had a crazy case where this young girl got bullied by social media, and she I think she killed herself. The reality is that it is here to stay. So they are challenging social media companies to take some effort in protecting young people, because that's the way it is, and that's how it's going to be. It's a new day, it's a new order, and we've got to get on with the program. Okay, so have a good night. My name is Silver and Sidil, talking Saturday night. Peace out. Boom.